Good morning, November 27th. Pray boldly. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. Telephone calls used to be routed by operators manually connecting circuits at a switchboard, plugging and unplugging wires all day long to keep conversations going. Today, think how many millions of calls are handled by computerized routers every second of the day. Better yet, imagine how many countless prayer calls God receives every moment from all over the world. It would be easy to be dissuaded from praying by thinking of our individual prayer requests getting lost amid the millions God hears. Yet we are exhorted to let our requests be made known to God. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. And to do so boldly. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. King David did, countless times in Psalms, and so did the Apostle Paul. The same request 3 different times. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 and 8. They didn't feel bad or guilty for continually asking God for help, nor should we. In fact, not to pray is to portray God as less than he is, a generous Father. Luke chapter 11, verses 11 through 13. And our Father God is a good, good Father. If you are in a stressful place today, stop now and tell God, because ultimately he is the answer to our prayers. Meeting with him is the beginning of your answer. Anxiety and prayer are more opposed to each other than fire and water. J.A. Bengel. Good evening, piety and practice. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Many people think that being pious refers to a total inability to understand the basic issues of life and to live in an impractical fool's paradise. They are convinced that it is impossible to be godly and practical at the same time. Unfortunately, many of God's children display a form of holiness that isolates them from the daily struggle, heartache, and pain of those for whom life is much harder. Jesus' holiness did not isolate him from the pain and suffering around him. On the contrary, he mingled with people and identified with their suffering and pain. That was why they were drawn to him. A godly life does not ignore the realities of life. Assuming that all your problems will simply vanish, Christ needs agents of his love who wish only to do his will in the dynamic strength of his practical holiness. If Christ lives in you, John chapter 15, verses 1 through 8, and you long for your life to reflect this, you will develop a practical piousness that will glorify God in the service of your fellow man.